We got a question from an interested viewer for Tom the attorney. Since you're the only one named Tom here, I'm assuming this comes to you. What's the most expensive self-defense case that you can remember or can talk about? Speaking of expensive things, we have a gun giveaway going on right now. You can enter for free, but it ends really soon. So just click the link in the description down below to reveal which brand new gun you could win. Talking, I guess, in general terms, self-defense cases cost a lot of money. It's very complicated. How much are we talking about?
Well, let's step back and do a quick, fun, educational dive on what it is to hire an attorney. Because in my experience, when I talk to folks when they call in and they're trying to hire us, they're trying to find an attorney, a law firm, they really don't know how the process works. So here's how it works, because we've all seen the, hey, no fee unless you win, all these contingency fees, on television, that kind of stuff. If you haven't, God bless you. But for the rest of us, we've all seen that, right? So there's fundamentally three different ways of hiring an attorney. One is contingency fee. That's what you always see on television. That's what most people, how they think it works. And it's no fee unless we win. The only people who generally do that are personal injury attorneys, because they're suing insurance companies who they know will pay. Like, there's no chance of a default. If they get a judgment, they will get that money eventually. Some extremely rare exceptions apply, but generally speaking, they will get that money. And two, they're only going to take the cases that they know they will make money on. Good business model.
Yeah.
Right. So there's those kind of cases. The second most common way that people know how attorneys function is by hourly. Okay. You put down some sort of retainer, goes into an attorney trust account. You're paying the attorney X number of dollars per hour. Whether it's on the less expensive end, typically you might see 150 to 250. Whether it's on the kind of more the middle range, 250 to say 400 per hour, or whether it's on the higher range, maybe 500, 600. I've seen $1,000 per hour or more. You're also, on top of that, going to be responsible for covering various expenses the attorneys might have, whether that's Xeroxing, just you name it, okay? Kind of like driving your car, filling up your gas tank, you put 5, 10, 20 on a self-defense case, $50, $80, $100,000 into that account. The attorney's billing against it. All their associates are billing against it. Their paralegal, if they have one's billing against it. They're all billing against it. Once it hits a certain point, you are responsible to now refill that trust account balance.
You get another phone call that says, hey, retainer has been used up.
Yes.
We need some more money.
Yes. And otherwise, they stop driving the car, and there's a very good chance that they're going to file what's called a motion to withdraw. In other words, you're halfway through the case, but congratulations, you're either trying to find a new attorney, or you're self-representing, or you're selling your home. That's an hourly base fee agreement. The third type that's out there and really wasn't out on the scene, so to speak, up until about the last decade, and it may not be available in every state as well. And that's a flat fee based model. Now, a flat fee typically does not cover every little thing as part of every single case. So, for instance, when we do flat fees at our firm, it covers all reasonable, ordinary pretrial expenses. Unlike every Tom Cruise movie, not every case ends in a jury trial.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's between about 2 to 3% of cases go to jury trial. So we're not going to charge you for something that is not statistically likely to happen. Okay. So if your case goes to a jury trial, there's going to be an extra fee. Likewise, statistically, most cases don't have motions on them. Okay. A motion is a legal defense raised to a judge, not to a jury. That's where we're talking about things like an illegal stop, an illegal detainer, an illegal arrest, probable cause issues, search issues, all that kind of stuff.
And all of this is adding up against, and you're talking about now a flat fee.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, just hold on. We're going to get to that, all right? You get to things like hiring experts. You get to things like going to appeals. Experts would be, for instance, use of force experts when we're talking about self-defense cases. Maybe we need to hire our own medical examiner because the ME who did the forensics on the decedent, the guy who attacked you, if we're talking about a self-defense case. The bad guy.
We're always,
Maybe we look at their conclusions and they're like, he shot him from 50 feet away. And it's like, no, this is 4 feet away. I don't know how they got that wrong, but those are the conclusions that they reached, or the angles were off, or things like that. Maybe it's particularly relevant in your case to figure out which shot may have been the shot that caused mortality. In other words, that killed the bad guy. any number of issues that could be out there. Maybe we have to hire our own ME to do their own conclusions.
I'm thinking that a flat fee is not the way for you to go as an attorney on a self-defense case.
So,
unless that flat fee is going to be pretty much up there, because there's a lot of things to consider.
I mean, they are up there, bluntly. I mean, you'll talk about flat fees into the minimum deep 5 figures, 50, 80, 90 grand plus. Oftentimes into the 6 figures, depending upon the situation, depending upon the nature of the case, all that kind of stuff. You may see expert fees range into the tens of thousands of dollars. You may see motion fees raising different legal challenges. Maybe they're trying to bring in that time. Let's say you're 50 now, and the state is trying to bring in that time that you punched your high school bully in the face, and they're trying to bring up that ticket that you got for that to show that you're a bad guy and predisposed to violence or something, right? Now we have to file motions to try to keep that out, or whatever the case may be. All those things cost money. Okay, so you may have tens of thousands of dollars of expert fees, tens of thousands of dollars of motion fees, and we haven't even talked about the trial. I mean, you're going to see a trial typically run, probably anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks. Usually, we're talking about a week to maybe somewhere in the 2 range. Depending upon if your case is large enough where you may have 2 attorneys assigned to your case, let alone 3 or 4, like in certain cases. I mean, again, you could see a 6-figure fee out of that as well.
And we're looking at this because the legal, the entire legal system is complex enough that you don't want to go in there by yourself. And you're looking at time, expertise, and the state basically has an unlimited checkbook what they can spend to prosecute you. Do they not?
Prosecutors wouldn't word it that way, but I think that's a fair way of wording it, because at the end of the day, the people who are paying them are the taxpayers, and there's just budgets that are set up. Most district attorneys' offices and most states, or many of them, I should say, will have kind of slush funds as far as like, okay, well, we need to bring in an expert for this, we need to do that. Which cases do we want to spend that on?
Yeah.
Is that going to be your case?
Yeah.
Maybe. They have, in essence, unlimited funds when it comes to hiring private investigators. We call them detectives.
Yep.
To send them out and to do things, to look at things, to go talk to someone else, to gather another witness statement. They can pick up the phone and call the medical expert and say, hey, I've got questions about this. They're not going to get a bill for it. If you're calling your own guy, trust me, you're going to get a bill for it.
Yeah, and well, you're getting a bill for the other guys too, because it's coming out of your tax dollars. So you're paying for your own prosecution, in effect.
There's a tremendous transaction cost to being an attorney to be able to do this well. It's not just roll out of bed and, hey, I'm going to be able to do a 2-week jury trial, learning and glancing at paperwork as I go.
Yeah.
You're not going to know about all the different types of motions, all the different types of evidence, all the different types of evidentiary issues, objections, how to handle them in the moment. You're talking about people at the pinnacle of their profession with tremendous resources at their disposal in order to do not a competent job, but the best job that you deserve.
Yeah.
None of that comes cheap.
And you need that because we're talking about your life is on the line here. Long-term prison sentences for shootings are common. So understand when you're walking into a situation like this, if a prosecutor comes down with a charge of first-degree murder as a result of your self-defense incident, you're looking at the rest of your life in some cases.
Generally speaking, first-degree murder in every state that I'm familiar with, I'm sure there's exceptions. Check your local listings. But in every state that I'm familiar with, you're talking about a legal minimum sentence of life behind bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's so many things that go into this that it's not like if you were to describe, well, yeah, to replace the engine in your truck, it's really easy. You just get a jig or whatever.
Get a new engine and
put
it
you
in.
just drop it in. Easy peasy, right? And yeah, I can describe a job easily. Yeah, you just wake up, you do the jury trial. You know all the stuff you're supposed to know. No problem, right? Not the way this works. And keep in mind, you could be looking at all sorts of tremendously awful repercussions for warning shots, for firing at the bad guy and missing even, right? I mean, that's obviously separate from a warning shot, but there's all sorts of different felonies that are out there and charges that are out there. And to be clear, I'm not necessarily defending this. I'm just, I'm the messenger here, okay?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And you can see prosecutors who have really a tremendous amount of discretion in our system. It's difficult to maybe put another job in the legal system other than perhaps a judge at sentencing, but even they've got all sorts of rules. I mean, a prosecutor has so much discretion that we give them as society. That's the way our system's set up. And then we check their discretion. We check the power that we vest in them with judges, juries, defense attorneys, courts of appeal. All we do fundamentally is check the power of prosecutors. That's what we do. And there are many tremendously fantastic prosecutors who are on, in my view, an earnest pursuit of truth and justice. I see some people who, in my view, can be clouded by politics on different issues, and perhaps get a little myopic. There's the $5 word of the day. All right.
Thank you very much. Start it off.
Yes, let's do it. Right. You know, they get the blinders up as far as this is the one way I see the case, and this is how I'm going to roll on this. And while that might be natural, that might be human, it can lead to tremendous damage for folks and ruining lives of defendants who are wrongfully charged or overcharged.
And that's truly how people end up in very precarious situations as a result of self-defense. And you're absolutely right. It costs a lot of money. So
it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of stress. It is safe to say of every client that our firm has represented who has had some sort of self-defense incident, whether it's with a gun, a knife, whether they just had to display, whether they had to fire it, every single person that I can recall, keep in mind, we're a law firm with a couple dozen attorneys, okay? But every single client that I can recall has always said that, you know, if there's something they could do, they could go back in time and not put themselves in that position. That's what they would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for that insight. Truly appreciate all of your help. It's a true story of self-defense. We interviewed an armed Lyft driver who was carjacked to help answer these questions. Should I carry a gun while driving? And what does a carjacking actually look like? Just click the video next to me to watch this must-see interview.